Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, still sailing the high seas. Yesterday we were in beautiful Belize. Someone was really close to guessing the location based on absolutely no information. And today we're in Honduras. Anyways, here I've got a lot of news to talk about and some really exciting stuff and some really weird stuff. So first up on the docket, we're talking about Sandbox. And if you're not familiar with Sandbox, I don't blame you, it hasn't released yet. Sandbox is set to release April 28th, so at the end of the month. And it's written very interestingly here. It's S&box to make Sandbox. Who knows here? I mean, a game like this looks like it might be up my alley, and maybe it's up yours. Anyways here, very interestingly, they're reporting they already have Game Boy Advance working in this thing. And for those wondering, Sandbox is a spiritual successor to Garrys mod. The person behind Game Boy Advance Emulation in Sandbox does have a video on YouTube titled Game Boy Advance Emulator in Sandbox. If you are interested to check it out, like everything we talk about, links are within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. I think this is a really good start for Sandbox, and I'm really curious to see if it gets as big as Garrys mod. My gut tells me no, but also there is a chance it does. Let me know your thoughts about not only Game Boy Advance Emulation in Sandbox, but Sandbox itself. And speaking about games on Steam, really kinda. Next up here, we're talking about Windows emulation on Android with GameNative. And GameNative just had a very big release. They've just dropped version 0.9.0. So as usual, this comes with a whole host of fixes, optimizations, performance improvements, and more. Big additions include Pixel 10 and PowerVR support, Steam Branch support, Steam Workshop support, apply known configs for Epic, GOG, and Amazon, Storage Manager, Cloud Save fixes, and even more. In my opinion here, I think Windows emulation on Android is booming. I mean, with these improvements to GameNative, it's really put itself in a front runner in terms of Windows emulators on Android. We've also got GameHub and Winlater, but at the same time here, I think GameNative is making improvements in leaps and bounds. And there's even an interesting video here from Retro Gamecore that I'd recommend checking out. And it's titled, Could Android Replace the Steam Deck? So Russ's video is 18 minutes and 40 seconds long, and he goes over about 10 different games that are very popular on the Steam Deck. The most popular games on the Steam Deck, tries them out on Android. The results here, well, I'll let you watch the video and make your own conclusions, but I'm not at all surprised about the results, I'll say that. It is extremely promising, and that is where I'll leave things at. I mean, realistically, I am super excited about Windows emulation on Android and the future of Windows emulation on Android. And I love seeing these updates from stuff like Winlater and GameNative, and even GameHub. And speaking about Windows games, next up here, we're talking about Microsoft Xbox Game Pass. Where you do have Game Pass for PC. Anyways here, taking a look, they've announced a whole bunch of games coming to Game Pass in April, and some games leaving Game Pass in one very big game. So the big game leaving Game Pass is Grand Theft Auto 5 and also My Little Pony. Anyways here, taking a look here for the games that are headed to Game Pass. We've got Final Fantasy IX. So I meant to say Final Fantasy IV, not Final Fantasy IX. Got my Roman numerals mixed up there. Anyways here, also DayZ, Endless Legend 2, FBC Firebreak, Planet Coaster 2, Tiny Bookshop, Football Manager 26, Hades 2, Replaced, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, EA Sports NHL 26, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and even more. So this is a pretty big month for Game Pass. And speaking about pretty big months, not in a good way. Next up here, we're talking about limited run games. And under new ownership, it seems the limited run games is still running into familiar problems. This announcement is up on Time Extension, who spotted it, and they say here, the headline of this article, Limited Run Games announces widespread delays, concedes delivery dates were too aggressive and overly optimistic. The company has once again promised to do better. Furthermore here, looking on Twitter, Drew Danable says, getting Sigma Star Saga DX all set to go for the Thursday stream, and limited run games. If the game's using MGBA, you need to include the emulator's license in the game files under MPL 2.0. The current list of credits of licenses doesn't mention it. So it seems they're also violating licenses if this is true. I'm not gonna lie here, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the matter. I mean, I remember when limited run games got new ownership, the announcement was made and some people were thinking it was gonna be a breath of fresh air for limited run and possibly a change for the better. And right now it seems to me, at the very least here, maybe this is a hot take, it seems like it's a change for the same, no change at all. This is the same stuff that I've been seeing from limited run games for a while, at least in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts about this one. Maybe that's a hot take I just had there, but I don't think so. This is super unfortunate overall, and if stuff like this continues, I mean, misstep after misstep, I'd be surprised to see limited run sticking around. What the heck is going on over there? Very interesting. However, based on the article here, Limited Run claims that this will be the final set of delays, suggesting that from now on, the date is the date, and it's a date you should be able to believe when placing an order with us. Let me know your thoughts on that and if they're going to stick to it, and hopefully here there's no more shenanigans. And speaking about no shenanigans, next up here we're talking about PlayStation 3 emulation with RPCS3. Did you really think we were going to go a day without talking about them? I mean, every single freaking day here, they're doing something. This emulator development team is absolutely insane. So anyways here, this is the latest tweet, and it's not just the developer team, it's like the community, everything surrounding. So I'll just say the whole RPCS3 team. How about that? Anyways here, they've got a new tweet and a revamped system requirements. So they say here, do you have what it takes to play PS3 games on your device? Check out the simplified RPCS3 system requirements. So taking a look at their website here, and the 2026 requirements are very, very clearly laid out and just very similar to a game. They've got minimum, recommended, optimal, and max performance in terms of specs. And taking a look at max performance, they're not too max in my opinion. I mean, an RTX 4070, an AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D, and Linux. Windows did not make it to max performance. Go figure. Moving on, and next up here, we're going back one generation from PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 2 and talking about PlayStation 2 emulation on iOS with improved PSX2. So this is a brand new PS2 emulator, and it's meant to compete with something like IPSX2. It's worth pointing out neither of these projects are affiliated with PCSX2. Anyways here, IPSX2, Jared Norwell, who you may know as Antique, says here on Twitter, IPSX2 on the left with JIT, improved PSX2 on the right without JIT. Guess experience trumps AI slop. Oh, and this will actually be open source. So heading on over to the GitHub for improved PSX2, and I don't see anything there just yet. The GitHub exists, but no code is in it just yet. I'm guessing Antique is gonna start pouring code in it after this thing gets developed. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this one if you use PS2 emulation on iOS. And if you're looking forward to something like improved PSX2, or if you use something like Play, or if you're using IPSX2 and you're happy with it. Very curious. And speaking about being happy with something, next up we're talking about something I think a number of people are going to be happy with, and maybe a number of people are going to be upset about. Who knows? Anyways, the article is up on Ars Technica, and I guess the US Supreme Court overturns Fifth Circuit ruling that told ISPs to kick pirates off the internet. Supreme Court's precedent-setting Cox ruling helps grant beat music piracy claims. If you are interested in checking out this article, it's well written, it's very informative, and I would recommend checking it out. You know where the links are. Anyways, here it starts out by saying the Supreme Court yesterday overturned a Fifth Circuit ruling that would have forced internet service provider Grande Communications, maybe it's Grande, not Grand, to terminate broadband subscribers accused of piracy. And they say here, this is from the court, a company is not liable as a copyright infringer for merely providing a service to the general public with knowledge that it will be used by some to infringe copyrights. That statement on its own, in my opinion here, and I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, I'm just a guy reading the news. In my opinion, that statement is huge and farther reaching, much further reaching than just this music piracy ISP thing. Taking a look at it, I mean, I really think that overall could apply to other things as well, like emulation handhelds, emulators, and even more. Furthermore here, and this is also big, they go on to say here that a service provider is contributorily liable for the user's infringement only if it intended that the provided service be used for infringement. The intent required for contributory liability can be shown only if the party induced the infringement or the provided service is tailored to that infringement. That is pretty big in my opinion. I am curious to hear your opinions on the matter, and people who know the law more than I do maybe have a better opinion and a better take than I would in terms of if this could be applied outside of this specific case here. I really think it could, but at the same time, who knows? But moving on from that, and next up here, we're talking about something arguably perfectly legal, and that is MAME, Multiple Arcade Machine Emulation. Anyways here, MAME has just announced they're not going to be getting an April update, so almost every single month MAME releases a brand new update with a whole host of improvements and fixes, optimizations, new working systems, and even more. Anyways here, at the end of April, they will not be doing one, but at the same time here, they have announced that requirements for MAME are going up. So if you're on something older than Windows 10, you'll no longer have support for MAME. Older versions of MAME will work, but newer versions of MAME moving forward will not work on anything other than an updated installation of Windows 10 or later. Specifically regarding Windows, it still works on other operating systems. Now there's a number of other things in this article to take a look at. I mean, if you've got MAME on a very unique older system, you may want to check this out. But they go on to say here, the 32-bit x86 recompiler backend is being removed. It's been over 2 decades since the x86-64 architecture was introduced. All major x86 operating systems have supported x86-64 for years, and 32-bit x86 support is being wound back. And they also say they're going to be reducing the frequency of releases a bit, so there will no longer be a release nearly every month. And speaking about releases, next up here we're talking about Plants vs. Zombies 3, not Planets vs. Zombies 3 as they sometimes say. Anyways, Plants vs. Zombies 3 is now in early access. I almost called it Planets again. Starting today in Ireland and the Philippines, we're beginning our global rollout, with more regions coming in the months ahead. This is just the beginning. We'll be growing and evolving the game with your feedback throughout development. So if you're interested in Plants vs. Zombies 3, pay attention to it, and maybe, just maybe, early access will be rolling out in your area fairly soon. And last up here, we're shifting from software to hardware and talking about Qualcomm Snapdragon X2 Elite laptops. And it seems that a number of reviews for X2 Elite laptops are coming out now, and Video Cards I think has done a pretty good job at rounding up a bunch of different reviews. So far it seems that most reviews are based on the Asus ZenBook A16, and taking a look, I'm not at all surprised at the performance here. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Snapdragon X2 Elite. However, I think the biggest drawback right now for pretty much any ARM laptop is software, including the operating system. But who knows here, maybe that's a hot take. If it is, let me know in the comments below, but I wouldn't recommend an ARM-powered laptop yet for gaming. Just wait for Valve and Steam to do their thing. But at the same time here, as it stands right now, I don't think you'd be getting an optimal gaming experience at all. And for myself as a content creator and a gamer, not at all interested yet in the Snapdragon X2 Elite laptop. I think the software is really limiting at this point in time, but maybe that is a hot take. I don't think so. Maybe it is. Let me know your thoughts. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Although I did see some pelicans yesterday in Belize. They were super cool to see. I'll throw those on screen so you can check them out yourself. There were a whole lot of them, and I love frickin' seeing fluffs when I'm out and about. And we're out and about today in Honduras, and I'm hoping to see some more fluffs. You know, wherever I'm at, I try to record and try to get you the news, wherever, whenever I can. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.